Hello, welcome to a new video. Today I'm bringing you a recommendations list, but it's October. I'm wearing my Oogie Boogie spirit jersey. People like to read spooky books for spooky season. I am one of those people. However, I don't like scary stuff. So there's people out here recommending like super scary books, which is great for the people that like them. However, I want to give you a list of spooky season recs without the scare. So I wanted to give you a list of books that I recommend for spooky season for people that do not like scary books, because that's me. I couldn't think of a fun name for this, so Spooks Without the Scare is courtesy of Ash, so thank you, Ash, for providing. Now, most of these books are YA. I have a few adult, but it is really hard to find adult horror that isn't super scary, like past my level. So most of these are YA, but I have a few middle grade as well, which I think are really good. So I'm going to do middle grade, YA, then adult. On the middle grade list, probably the least scary is the Eerie on Sea series by Thomas Taylor. So the first book being Malamander. This is set in a seaside town in gloomy season. It's called Cheery on Sea, but the C and the H have fallen off, so it is Eerie on Sea now. The fourth book especially was quite spooky. I believe that one is set around Halloween as well. They all have that like haunting atmosphere vibe, which is just perfect for spooky season if you don't want scary. Next we have The Keeper by Guadalupe Garcia McCall. I very recently read this like this month, and I really enjoyed this. These siblings with their parents move into this community that's in the middle of nowhere, and weird things are happening. They're being watched, but the adults don't know this, and it's creepy, but I didn't get creeped out, which was good because I didn't want to be, because it's a middle grade. Next we have a series which starts with The Dark Deep by Ali Condé and Brendan Reichus. This is a trilogy. I really enjoyed this entire trilogy. I've just finished a trilogy, and these kids discover this like portal type thing, and lots happen. There are monsters. There are these things called figments that are created by this portal thing, and these kids are the only ones that know about it, and they have to protect the town. It's very fun, creepy at times, and like edge of your seats at other times. And then this is probably the scariest one of the middle grades, Small Spaces by Catherine Ardent. So I have since read the second book in this series, and so this is Scarecrows. The second book is Ghosts. And there was one bit in this that creeped me out so much I jumped because there was a noise somewhere in my house. So this is the scariest one of all the middle grades, and I wouldn't give this to my nephews who are middle grade reading age. Just saying. But they're really good if you want something scary but isn't going to be as scary as an adult horror. And also the atmospheric vibes in this series. Catherine Arden, queen of atmosphere. Next we move on to the YA. So I recently read The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins. I also would recommend There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. I read that one years ago and really enjoyed it. They're both YA, horror-y, mystery, murder mystery type things. This one was very creepy. I thought it was going to go a different direction than it did, which would have made it creepier than it was. But it was very like spine tingling, like what's going to happen, without being scared, like, and not wanting to carry on. Next is like a thrillery one, and it's this Splined Silence by Kayla Olson. No one talks about this, and I'm gutted. So I got this in a book box club years ago, and this is like a mystery thriller set in space, and it is so cleverly done. And I actually want to reread this soon because I loved this book when I read it back in the day. When did I read this? 2018. I read this 6 years ago. And I want to reread this because this was so good. Next up, we have The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. Now, this isn't scary. This is like, if you want like a fantasy vibe, this has like these monsters and the Luminaries have to protect the town. There's different factions of the town, the Mondays, the Tuesdays, the Wednesdays. And between the families, they have to protect the town. And it is very atmospheric. There are forest scenes which have you on the edge of your seat. And it's great. Next, we have The Society for Soulless Girls by Laura Stephen. This isn't scary in the slightest, but this is very atmospheric and has like a mystery to it. I really enjoyed this, and if you want very, very low key but still fits for spooky season, this works perfectly. Next, we have The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. Now this one is along the same side as The Society for Soulless Girls. This is very much, it's dark academia, so it has that like creepy atmospheric vibes, but it's not scary, but it's beautifully written, and that's what I love about it. Next up is Lake's Edge by Lyndall Clipstone. Now this again isn't scary in the slightest, but it has that gothic haunting atmosphere. If you're a fan of Crimson Peak, and I'm gonna be completely honest, it is not Crimson Peak. It doesn't have any sort of same storyline as Crimson Peak, but the cover and the vibes remind me of Crimson Peak. And that's why I picked up this book, and I am itching to get to the second book. I will get to it soon. But honestly, this book was beautiful. Next up is the Demon Artist series by Darren Shan, which starts with Lord Lost. So this is a 10-book series. This doesn't have like haunting atmospheric vibes. This is more if you want a bit of like gruesome body horror, but you don't like gruesome body horror. It's YA, dialed down a notch or two. But this is such a good series. I know a lot of people don't agree. I haven't reread this series in years, and I very much would like to, because I recently reread one of his other series that I read when I was a kid. Yeah, I very much want to reread this. Next, we have Winterwood by Shea Earnshaw. This is another one that is just like spooky atmosphere. It's set in these woods in the middle of nowhere. I believe the way out of this like town or village is blocked off in like a storm or something. I could be wrong in that. Yeah, so there's like the worst snowstorm in years, and there is an uneasy shift in the woods at a presence. It's very cleverly done. I really enjoyed this, and also this book is beautiful. So yeah. Next, we have The Other Ones by Fran Hart. This is a really cute YA mystery, horror-y, paranormal type book, and it's really cute and it's queer, and this is very, very low-key spooky, but it works for spooky season because look, there's even a pumpkin on it. I really enjoyed this book. It was very cute. Next up, we have Wrangle Stone by Darren Charlton. Now this is not spooky or scary, but it does have zombie-like creatures, and I know that is like a tick box for some people for spooky season. I actually did mean to get to the sequel in this spooky season, but it's not going to happen, so this doesn't have to be read at spooky season. But zombies, always great for like Halloween month. Also, it's queer. Next, we have one of my favourite authors, You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. This is a very short book. So this is set at a camp that is very much like, it's a scare camp. So the back literally says about guests pay to be scared in this full contact terror game as Charity and her summer crew recreate scenes from a classic slasher film, The Curse of Camp Mirror Lake. But then murders start happening, and it is so good. I absolutely loved this book, and even though it's a very short book, the pacing is so well done for this, and I absolutely loved it. And then the final YA ones I have to recommend is actually just one author but 3 books. So the author is Erica Waters, and there's Ghostwood Song, The Restless Dark, and All That Consumes Us. So This author has become a auto-buy author for me. After Ghostwood Song, which I absolutely loved, which has like ghosts and a creepy looking lake, and it was so well done that I was like, I want to try something else by this author. So I read The Restless Dark, which is following people who are trying to find the bones of this serial killer in these woods where he used to take his victims, and one of the people is his last victim. It is so well done, so creepy, and I absolutely adored this. So those two solidified that this would be an auto by author. I have now just read All That Consumes Us, and this is a completely different vibe because this is dark academia, and I don't read dark academia, but this is an exception because I absolutely loved this. The vibes were just so on point. It was creepy. There's ghosts, spirits, whatever you want to call them, and it was just amazing. Okay, and now for the final part, which is just the adult books. This is, I think, probably the shortest pile because, as you can imagine, it's really hard to find adult horror that isn't super scary. Because I am a wimp and I'm okay with that. There is nothing wrong with that. So, first up, this is a lot of books, but it's one author, Christina Henry. So she has two vibes. She has dark retellings, which The Girl in Red is still my favourite, but these dark retellings are so well done. And then we have her other books, which technically Horseman is a dark retelling, but Near the Bone, The Ghost Tree, Horseman, and Good Girls Don't Die, these all have pretty different vibes. None of these books are alike, but they are all so well done with the atmosphere vibes, and Good Girls Don't Die especially felt like it had such high stakes, and it was just so well done. I love all of these books, and they all, I feel like they cater to like all different types of horror readers. So Christina Henry is one that I will always recommend if you want some adult horror. Next up, I couldn't get to my finished copy of this, so I'm just going to hold up my arc. Aasia by Claire Legrand. This is way too shiny. This is witchy, but also it has the spooky, foresty atmosphere, and it was so interestingly done. I really enjoyed how this was written. But yeah, witches, it's queer, spooky forest. And then the final one is actually a graphic novel, and it is my absolute favourite graphic novel series ever. It is Something Is Killing the Children by James Tierney IV. I will forever rave about this series. This isn't scary. However, this is so gruesome and so well done. The backstory behind the main character, the creatures themselves are so cleverly done. And let me see if I can find an example of some artwork in here that isn't gonna be spoilery. Okay, this is super near the beginning, so kind of spoilery but kind of not. It's so good. And the series as a whole is just great, and it's a finished series, which is amazing. I'm hoping there's going to be a spin-off or sequel series, because volume 7 does end on a bit of a like open-ended ending. That's my only downside to this series, but I absolutely love this series. I will rave about it to everyone and anyone who will listen, but it's creepy and I love it. Okay, so they are my recommendations. I would love if people could recommend me some more books similar to these that are not scary. Clowns are a no-no. Not reading anything with clowns. Don't recommend me Stephen King. I have read some of his books and I have disliked all of them apart from one. So yeah, I would love some more recommendations, because I need to build my I need to rebuild my collection ready for next spooky season. But I hope you have enjoyed this video and got some recommendations if you're not a fan of horror. Even if you are a fan of like adult horror that's like super scary, I'd still recommend these to you as like a little appetizer. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.